Hello students, welcome to the lecture on Human Resource Management in Hospitals, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand the evolution of hospital HRM in India. Define the procurement of human resources. Explain the human resource planning in hospitals. Discuss the development of human resources. Describe the compensation of human resources. Explain maintenance of human resource. Define the separation of human resources. Let's start with a brief introduction. The simple and familiar word hospital represents much but is not always understood in its entirety and complexity. A hospital cares for patients of ages and backgrounds, some appreciative and some disgruntled, some happy and some sad. It houses cooks and doctors, cleaners and nurses, technicians and therapists, ambulance drivers and administrators of different kinds, plumbers and clerks, all interacting with each other. It experiences love and hate, hope and despair, sympathy and indifference. It is a place which never closes complex equipment, has a wide variety of supplies, imposes policies and rules, has budgets and debts, experiments and learns and plans for the future. Let's now talk about evolution of hospital HRM in India. HR function is in existence in some form or the other in Indian organizations in general and in hospitals specifically. This is because organizations exist for people. They are made of people and by the people. Their effectiveness depends on the behavior and performance of the people constituting them. Objectives of HRM system in hospitals. The broad objective of HRM is to contribute towards realization of the hospital's goals. The specific objectives are to achieve and maintain good human relations within the hospital. Enable each employee to make his/her maximum personal contribution to the effective working of the hospital. Ensure respect and the well-being of the individual employee. Ensure the maximum development of the individual and to help him/her contribute his/her best to the hospital. Ensure the satisfaction of the various needs of individuals in order to obtain their maximum contribution to achieve the hospital's goals. Personal management versus HRM conceptual differences between personal management and human resource management have run into controversies and contradictions. Such differences should be perceived as a matter of emphasis and approach rather than of substance. The emphasis of HRM is on commitment rather than compliance, which was emphasized by the personal function during the past several years. Despite such philosophical differences, the functions remain the same. Let us now discuss another topic, procurement of human resources. Procurement is the planning, organizing, directing and controlling of activities that are related to the acquisition and deployment of human resources. The activities of the HR functionary under the procurement subsystem are: first, job analysis, which includes designing job descriptions, making job specifications and making personal specifications. Second, he/she will perform activities related to human resource planning for estimating the right number and best combination of people needed to start the functioning of the hospital. Last, on the basis of the human resource plan, he/she has to formulate a recruitment program followed by selection and induction programs. Job analysis. Job analysis is the primary function in HRM. It is the prerequisite of all processes leading to recruitment, selection, performance appraisal, training and development of staff. Job description. Job description is the organized and factual statement of duties and responsibilities of a specific job in the hospital. It should indicate what is to be done, how it is done, and why it is done. Job specification. Job specification is a statement of the minimum acceptable human qualities required to perform the job effectively. Person specification. Person specification is the interpretation of job specification in terms of the kind of person needed to perform the job effectively. Let us now discuss human resource planning in hospitals. Human resource planning is a process of generating a plan, showing the demand for staff over a period of time based on assumptions about productivity and costs associated with the employee, the supply of the resources available within the hospital, and the shortfall that may have to be supplemented from outside are also estimated. Recruitment. Recruitment is undertaken as an activity to fill vacancies from external or internal sources to comply with the human resource plan. Selection. As recruitment attracts a large number of applicants, the process of selection is used for choosing a few for further consideration on the basis of predetermined criteria. It is the matching of the specified job required with the candidate's achievements, the principle of best fit. Induction or socialization. This is a formal program designed and partly carried out to introduce new employees to the organization in all its social and work aspects. It is a systematic, planned introduction to the company. It is also a scientific approach to help solve the problems of the new worker and his/her integration into the organization of the hospital. Placement. This is the last in the series of activities to ensure that the selection of the right man for the right job as a principle is followed through. The new incumbents need to be put through an intensive training program in various departments before the ultimate decision is taken about which job they are suitable for.
Within the hospital industry, we're seeing a much wider range of transactions than we had 5 or 10 years ago. For example, we're seeing combinations of faith-based and non-faith-based institutions, for-profit and not-for-profit entities combining, hospitals acquiring physician practices, and all sorts of combinations along the care continuum. What this means for HR is that there are a much wider range of practices and programs with which the HR community needs to be familiar, and the additional complexity with which they need to deal. The regulatory requirements are different across these different types of entities, and they may limit the options available for harmonization and integration, and may require, in many cases, new programs and practices having to be put into place. In addition, those different types of combinations raise important cultural differences that need to be taken into account, and ensuring that the cultural alignment is in place to really get the benefit of the combination is critically important.
Let's now talk about development of human resources. Development is the planning, organizing, directing and controlling of a program that has a wide range of activities related to human resource development in terms of enabling employees to acquire competencies needed for future job requirements. Human resource development is a continuous process to ensure the development of employee competencies, dynamism, motivation, and effectiveness in a systematic and planned manner. Training. The aim of any training program is to provide instruction and experience to new employees to help them reach the required level of performance in their jobs quickly and economically. For the existing staff, training will help develop capabilities to improve their performance in their present jobs, to learn new technologies or procedures, and to prepare them to take on increased and higher responsibilities in the future. Performance appraisal. Performance appraisal is a formal technique for accessing individuals to advise them about their progress, improve their performance, judge their merit, and identify any personal difficulties. It is considered a powerful tool to control the performance and productivity of human resources. Management by objectives, MBO. a method by which every employee sets his or her own objectives in consultation with his/her superior and accounts for success or failure in accomplishing these objectives in the stipulated period of time. Behaviorally anchored rating system BARS, a system by which good and bad behavior can be described and measured against a scale of performance levels. 360-degree feedback, a procedure by which all concerned superiors, subordinates and colleagues of the employee give their ratings of his/her performance for a period of time. This system should be carefully designed and executed with the objective of enabling employees to identify their strengths and weaknesses rather than making use of them as a basis for reward. Career development. A career is a sequence of positions occupied by a person during the course of his or her professional life. It is affected by the changes in values, attitudes and motivation that occurs as a person grows older. Career planning is important because the consequences of career success or failure are linked closely with the individual's concept of self, identity and satisfaction with career and life. It is common knowledge that the career planning of employees has a direct bearing on the productivity and quality of their lives. Compensation is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling the wages and salaries related to the pay policies and programs of the hospital. In many cases, it is also called wage and salary administration. The determinants of wages and salaries in the hospital are the financial position and corporate philosophy of the hospital, statutory regulations pertaining to wages and salaries, job evaluation, cost of living index, benchmarking, statutory regulations such as the Payment of Wages Act, Minimum Wages Act, Equal Remuneration Act and Payment of Bonus Act are all applicable to hospitals also. Thus, the provisions under these laws have to be observed while developing a wages and salaries policy. Integration of human resources. Integration is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling the broad range of relationships in a hospital in order to ensure a proper interface between individuals and the organization. Most hospitals have mission statements. A mission statement defines the purpose and aim of a hospital and gives it a clear focus in society. Building morale and motivation. Moral or esprit de corps is the extent to which an employee's needs are satisfied and the extent to which the individual perceives that satisfaction as stemming from his total job situation. Moral involves interactions among group members and akin to the common concept of team spirit. It is often stated that when an employee has few frustrations, he/she seems to possess a high moral, and that when he has relatively numerous frustrations or intense ones, he/she appears to have a low moral. Managing change programs. Change in the social and economic environment is an inevitable phenomenon. Forces of change that are external to the organization necessitate adjustment in the internal structure and process of the hospital. Some of the sources of major change affecting hospital management are innovations in medical technology, leading to new services and methods of delivery of services. Greater competition, especially as a result of lower tariffs. Changes in government regulations and taxation. New tools of management such as computers. Employees look upon change with suspicion and generally resist them. Such resistance could be due to following reasons: the pressure to maintain equilibrium in their work lives. Habits are not easily changed. Selective perception and retention. Feeling of insecurity about their job, status, position, etc. Attitudes do not change easily. Management of industrial relations. Industrial relations in a hospital are bifurcated into individual relations and collective relations. With regard to individual relations, the hospital HR manager deals with some significant issues such as grievance procedures, disciplinary procedures, counseling, and so on. Grievance is the dissatisfaction or discomfort an employee feels regarding his/her job or conditions of work in the hospital. Now let's discuss a maintenance of human resource. Maintenance is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling health, safety and welfare programs that contain a wide range of activities related to the sustenance of human resources in the hospital. It is a recognized fact that the health, safety and welfare functions within the organization have been Cinderella of HRM despite the enormous human and economic benefits that can flow from a well-conceived and properly implemented health and safety policy within the company. Factories Act 1948. The Factories Act 1948 by the Government of India makes it obligatory for the employer to observe the provisions contained in the Act. Some of the main provisions are regarding health, safety, welfare and working conditions. Health. Health provisions have to be arranged by the management to ensure that they have healthy employees working for them. Healthy employees make a healthy organization. Safety. Safety is the prevention of accidents by identifying actual or potential causes. The process of identifying them is mainly by conducting inspections, checks and investigations. Most accidents are related to the system of work and some of them are also related to personal factors which in many cases arise from the system of work. In hospitals, there are several places where accidents can occur. They can occur in the case of electrical or electronic equipment which may give violent electric shocks. They can also occur in diagnostics where inexperience or carelessness could result in an accident. Welfare. Welfare is the total well-being of the employee. It is improving the moral and commitment of the employees. Let's now talk about separation of human resources. Separation is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling the activities that deal with the physical separation of human resources as and when required or provided by the separation policy in the hospital. Organizations have to pay attention to this particular function because there is a general feeling that there is not much benefit derived from executing this function in elaborate form. However, a planned separation program can be useful for hospitals. In these days of fierce competition, hospitals have to ensure that they have the right number and right quality of employees. Human Resource Information System HRIS, earlier called Personal Information System PIS, uses computer hardware, software and database. Information pertaining to all human resources is incorporated into the computer system as far as possible in numerical form. These numbers can then be manipulated by the HRIS to provide the type of information needed for planning and controlling, decision making or preparing reports about all operational functions of HRM. Hospitals HRIS. A hospital HRIS should consist of the following modules: personal profile, name, age, sex, domicile, marital status, and address of employees. Career profile, performance appraisal, job title changes, salary changes, promotions, transfers, career paths designed for employees. Skill prolific education, training, license, degrees, skills, hobbies, and interests. Putting HRM into practice. The most important task of the HR manager is implementing the HRM function. Many managerial initiatives fail sooner than they have been commissioned. Some organizations have a negative attitude towards HR function as a consequence of faulty implementation. Future of HR function in hospitals. Modern organizations are moving from a monolithic, vertical, homogeneous and slow-paced scenario to divergent, horizontal, centralized, heterogeneous, flat network-based, and fast-paced organizations. Hospitals also have to be alert and responsive to changing times and demands. They should be multifunctional, multidisciplinary, multispectral, develop the skills of a think tank, rapidly disperse new knowledge, new capabilities, and acquire a reservoir of knowledge about people. Therefore, the challenges that will be faced by hospital HR managers to understand and solve the problems of the future will be related to increasing size of the workforce, the changing psychosocial system, satisfying the higher level needs of the employee, creating an equitable social system, absorbing new medical and technological advances and ideas, taking advantage of the computer-aided information system, adjusting to the changes in the legal environment of hospitals, the management of human relations. An earnest endeavor should be made to redesign and restructure the HRM system in order to enable hospitals to have the best employees working for them. Productivity through people. The belief that the basis for productivity and quality is the workforce. Therefore, encouraging commitment and getting everyone in the organization involved is important, hands-on and value-driven. The people who run the organization get close to those who work for them and ensure that the organization's values are understood and acted on. This is very important in the context of a hospital. Visionary leadership. The value-shaping leadership is concerned with soaring lofty visions that will generate excitement and enthusiasm. Clarifying the value system and breathing life into it are the greatest contribution a leader can make. Thus, excellent organizations are characterized by visionary leadership. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. A human asset in modern times is considered to be a treasure rather than a mere resource in progressive business organizations. HRIS, earlier called Personal Information System (PIS), uses computer hardware, software and database. Separation is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling the activities that deal with the physical separation of human resources as and when required or provided by the separation policy in the hospital. Maintenance is the process of planning, organizing, directing and controlling health, safety and welfare programs that contain a wide range of activities related to the sustenance of the human resources in the hospital. Industrial relations in a hospital are bifurcated into individual relations and collective relations.